I could like go back and underline and make sure I understand the words that she's saying. Because she was saying some words. She went in, like she went so in on so many different things. And so I felt like calling my mama, hugging the babies, going out and saying I'm sorry to the asexuals and the trans, like everything. Like this book would be the itch as hell. It had so many notes. It definitely did. Okay. All right. Again, let me re-announce myself. Hey, everybody, I'm Natalie Elliott. We are live, and this is our, it's not our first book club, but it's the first book club that I was able to invite everybody. And so tonight we are talking about Refusing Compulsory Sexuality, a Black asexual lens of our sex-obsessed culture by Sharonda J. Brown. And yeah, she said so much in this book. I can't even like start to begin to say everything that she said. So, okay. All right, Sharita's saying the link is not in her. The link for tonight is not in that email. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me get my partner in here. My partner in crime. Ooh. Okay, hold on.
Can I ask a question while you're looking that up?
Please ask a question, because I don't want to just have dead time on the air, but I have to because Sharita can't get into the room. Okay, go ahead.
So, I have the book. It's I have it in a PDF form. So,
oh, really?
So for the book club, are you wanting to have the entire book read each time we meet? I mean, I've read some. I hadn't finished all of them. So, how do you want that?
Yes, I would like for you guys to have the book read before book club. And granted, this time y'all only had 5 days, because I think I put this out on Saturday. And so I understand that it didn't get read this time. So hopefully we'll still have a good discussion about it, because there's some topics in there that are really interesting that I'm finna start talking about. But now you guys, hopefully everybody was able to get access to the whole list. Everybody, did y'all see the whole list of books?
Oh yeah, they're very interesting.
Yeah. So if you hopefully now can go on there and get the book and try to at least get it skimmed before Bit Club, that'll be good. But if you don't, that's fine. You could probably still have a conversation about it, because some of these concepts you've probably heard in other areas, and you you'll probably be able to still be of value to the conversation. Okay, y'all, hold on one second. Let me get my girl in here. In progress. I know you're in progress. Sometimes you have to operate on 2 computers. I don't want to do that tonight. Okay. Okay, if I'm in a Zoom meeting, there's got to be a way for me to get her. Here we go. Okay. All right. Give me just a second, you guys. I apologize.
Also, are you taking any book suggestions?
I am taking book suggestions. All right. Definitely, indeed. Which ones do you want us to read? Hold on, because let me send this email and then I'll write that down. Because hopefully, And I only did books up until I feel like next April or May, maybe. Hopefully we can keep it going. And it's enough books in the world for us to be able to keep it going. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. Okay, I'm ready for your book suggestion.
Red Lip Theology by Dr. Candace Bowen.
Oh, Red Lip Theology? Girl, you trying to say something with that.
And it's really good.
All right, does anybody else have a book suggestion while we're out here? And that was by Dr. who? Natalie?
Candace Bowen.
Candace Bowen. Okay. Anybody else have a book that you've always wanted to read and you've never gotten around to it? Okay. All right, let me make sure I got all our participants in here. Okay. All right, what do y'all know? Have y'all read any books on asexuality? Let's start there.
Can't say that I have.
You know
what? Yeah, there's an ACES book. Well, the title was Asexuality. Something I have to look it up. But I assign chapters sometimes to some of my clients. I'll find it when I get to the house and put it in chat.
Oh, thank you. That'd be nice. We might put that book on the book list too. And I actually realized that I hadn't read a book on asexuality listening to this one, which is why my toes felt so stepped on. Like I just felt so bad. So what I realized is I really had not, and actually I don't think I've had I don't know if I've had any clients who identified as being asexual in my practice. And so one of the things she starts off saying in the book is that a lot of people view asexuality like something's wrong with you. Oh, you're just a late bloomer. And she likened it to like when people find out somebody like doesn't like ice cream or doesn't like pizza or doesn't like coffee, something, or even alcohol. They're like, what you mean you don't like coffee? What you mean you don't like ice cream? You must have, you haven't had the right kind, or you haven't had the right whatever. And she was like, that's very often how asexuals are viewed and seen and responded to, like, oh, you just haven't had the right person with that. And then she goes so much deeper into essentially the heterosexual community, society, into how not accepting somebody asexuality is basically a way of continuing to marginalize them. And she said so many things. She talked about what did she call it? The sex recession. Sharita, do you remember? She called it, was it the sex recession she called it? And how our culture overall is having less sex, getting married later, and doing just so many things. And she all kind of linked it out like back to this, the dominant kind of male culture, just another way to assert their dominance with that. All right. Good evening, Sharita. So glad you could make it. Sorry you didn't have the link. All right. Oh, I was telling everybody that you're the one who put this book list together. And FYI, I tweaked it a little bit. So I need you to make sure that you on the same page with me. So what did you think about the book? Because I know you've read it as well. And like she went deep. Like I gotta admit, last month I hadn't read the book. We talked about this last month and then my computer went out. So we needed to talk about it again. And then this month, like, I don't know. I felt, I felt like the only word I could think is arrested. Like I just felt arrested reading this book because it's like, man, have I been perpetuating that same, oh, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, I think
that heterosexualism is dominant. And so because we're dominant, might is right, Okay,
Right.
go ahead.
So I think
kind of piggybacking off of what you said, yeah, she got me from the beginning. Just the way that she was able to articulate and also make it commonplace, like, oh, if you don't like ice cream, then something's wrong with you. Or if you don't like coffee,
Mm-hmm.
then something's wrong with you. Or you just haven't had the right one, or
Mm-hmm.
there has to be another explanation for
Mm-hmm.
why you are the way that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to go too deep just yet, but I definitely,
Go ahead and go. Go ahead and go deep.
well, I definitely was not privy to all of the, I guess, biases that exist even in that LGBTQIA
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the asexuality. And I think she said something like they had collected, I can't remember the amount of money, but I think like $9 or something went to the asexual fund, right? It's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
you're not in the same boat because people can't
Mm-hmm.
look at you
Mm-hmm.
and know that you're gay, or look at
Mm-hmm.
you in trying to find a partner or whatever the case may be. So just really, that was very eye-opening for me, that they're really not accepted in any space, right? When we talk about,
Right.
this is my tribe and I found a safe space in this and that, it's like they're not really accepted in the gay community, and they're not really accepted in the straight community, and it's not a big enough community of them to kind of create their own, or at least it's not talked about enough.
Right.
So I think that was one of my biggest takeaways, is just the amount of, back in the day, I think we're all therapists or of some sort or something on here, but anybody still knows when I used to do kind of like shock therapy, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what it kind of likened to me. It's like,
Yeah.
when you're gay, it's like, oh, well, let me just give you shock that something can make you ungay. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, something, if you have the right sexual experience, then you won't be asexual.
Yeah.
You have to find pleasure in it in some capacity. And it's a couple of things. So I think as you kind of go over the question list, I don't know, did anybody else read the book, or they just on here?
No, I don't think they had enough time to get it
Okay.
and read it. So I
Yeah.
think it's just you. I read some of it, but I haven't had a chance to read all of it. Probably Yeah, the this first
is
couple this is a book you want to read, but you probably need to take a day. because she talks about, she goes in deep really to talk about, and I think to layer on top of it, because that's definitely what she is layering, is being asexual and being African American, and just showing how much more marginalized that population is. And so in her explaining how African American sexuality, Black sexuality has been seen by the dominant culture throughout the years. Like, it wanted to, I don't even have babies, but it wanted me to go home and hide my babies. Because at one point, what I'm talking about right now is she points out how the majority culture in America sees African American, especially African American women, as kind of being less than and oversexed and both like ignorant and mature. And so they can take a child from the dominant culture and a child from a minority culture, being African American, in this conversation, and think that child has been, oversexed or what, and just seen as different, not innocent, not pure. Even though it is a child. And so when you layer that then with that kind of just of cultural bias that we're having to deal with every day, and then layer that on top of asexuality, like, it really drove home a point. And so, like, I want to go protect all the young Black girls, and then I want to go find whichever are asexuals and protect them too, and making sure we're really aware, and at the same time kind of apologize for them. All right, for you, Sharita, what other feelings did it bring up as I find the questions and then go through them?
Okay. I think, like you said, that layering piece, that it's
Mm-hmm.
not just one. I mean, and we see that as
women of color a lot of times anyway, that we're not always just one. We're already a double minority. So now you're a triple minority, right? And then if you want to go a step further, then it's kind of like a quadruple minority, because you don't fall in the, homosexual or gay or lesbian population. So it's like all of these layers of who an individual was. And I like that she utilized an example of a writer, I forget the lady's name, but she was very famous for in the entertainment industry for a couple of different things, but how they wanted to claim her as like this gay woman, right? And it's like, but do we really know, did she ever say that, or was she more part of the asexual fantasy, family? Sometimes I have had a positive experience and sometimes I haven't. I think that it also lends to the ignorance that we have surrounding, like, oh, well, asexual just do not like any sexual experience. That's kind of the blanket explanation, if you were to give one to make it simple, right? And I remember speaking with someone in particular, a lady who is a little bit older. She's in her 60s. And so one of my clients, we were talking about asexuality, and she was really struggling with understanding how that could be. And I said, well, I said, it's really kind of no different than menopause, right? Like, the difference is that you used to like sex, but now you're like, I can still really love a person. I can still really care about this person. I can even be attracted to this person, but the sex part, I could take it or leave it. Like, I could have that once a year, if that, and that's just to please the partner that I'm with. So you can still have feelings towards another person. You can still love another person, be passionate towards another person, and all of these things, and just not, sex is just not something that moves you one way or another in that particular realm. So once I explained to her like that, she was like, I 100% understand, because that's some of the things that we have been working on is, her lack of desire. Now that she's gone through menopause, is in her 60s, is just like, I could care less about it. I said, but do you care any less about your husband? Right? Like, you still love him and care about him and are attracted to him. You just don't have to have sex with him.
Yeah. I think one of the things the book will help me do, one, like, I'm so open to seeing asexuals now. Not that I wasn't before. It wasn't like a no. It's just it hadn't come across, and now it feels like, wait, I want to make sure you guys know you have a space to come. That in my office and my practice, there'll be a safe space for you, and you will not be pathologized. Pathologized? That doesn't sound right.
Pathologized.
Thank you. That's better. Yeah, I was missing a G in there. Thank you. That was all right. About that. When you come into the office, you won't even be seen as other. That we would just simply accept you as, this is your story. This is your story, and we're here to help you however you need help. So, okay. All right. Welcome new people to the call. Did you guys want to add anything to the conversation before we start jumping into our questions that we came up with?
Well, you had asked for some books recommendations. I'm sorry, I went to get 2 books that I found had started to read and hadn't finished, but I think they're very, very good.
Okay.
And if you could add them to your list.
I will.
It's called Pussy.
Okay.
A Reclamation, and it's by Regina Thomas Hauser.
Okay.
THOMASHAUER.
Okay.
And the other one is When Sex Isn't Good. And this is stories and solutions of women with sexual dysfunctions.
Oh, wow. Okay, I will add those to the list. If anybody else has a book recommendation they want to add to the list, go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'll get those added to the list. Okay. All right. Now, who else is going to say something? I think
That
somebody
was
else.
that was me. Natalie.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll get back on video in just a second. I just got in the house.
It's okay.
But so I would say in the past 3 years, I've had about 6 or 7 asexual women. So it's been very interesting going through the process with them because I have 2 that now identify as gay. Because they were trying to figure it out. So
Yeah.
one of the thing is, they did a lot of searching online. There's a lot of ACE support groups on Facebook and on, I think she gets a lot of support off of Twitter as well. I don't really know the names of the groups, but I can ask her. But one of the things that I found, like 3 of them were young Black women, like, age, I think the oldest one was maybe 22 or 23. The youngest was like 19. So, talking about, being a quadruple minority there. So one, they had not disclosed to anyone that they felt they were asexual because they said people just don't understand it. One of the older clients of mine, she's actually a white therapist who now identifies as gay. But her thing was, I understand people questioning identity, and it's something I've done, all my life. So I need to figure out what it is. So one thing that I found with them is that they're anxious to, and I asked them why, but they're anxious to put themselves in a box in order to have a path, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. I think a lot of our clients are looking for a box, like, where do I fit in? Where do I fit in? Where do I fit in? And I think culture is also usually asking them, where do you fit in? Because until you fit in, like, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know how to treat you. Like, I can feel safe when you tell me what box you're in.
Right. So one of the things that I saw with all of them, no matter, what the race or the age, was that they also did not hang around other women who talked about sex a lot. So, I asked them about, what have your friends said about sex? What did you learn about sex? What do you think about it? What do you think about, being asexual? What kind of research have you done? I have some who actually have sex, who do it because their partner wants to have sex. I have one who just basically, it's the romantic part of it, which Sharonda talked about, I think, in the beginning of the book. So for her, it's just the romance of it. She loves cuddling, she loves making out, not interested in having sex at all. Out the 6, there were 2 that were virgins who were just like, they're not the sex repulsive, but it's just there's no desire to do that at all. However, those are also the 2 that also now identify as gay. So it's very interesting. I was excited when I saw this book come up because I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, something else that I can add to, because when I get young Black asexual women, they it's a lot of, well, maybe it'll just be easier. I had one say, maybe it's just going to be easier for me to be gay. So she was like, she said, at this point, Black people understand gay. And I was like, but you don't have to present that way if that's not who you are. We're just gonna figure it out. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. But I definitely have, I'm liking what I'm reading so far, and I would definitely probably use parts of this to definitely to work with those clients, continue to work with those.
Definitely. So one of the other things that I loved about the book, or that struck me about the book, is the term, compulsory sexuality, and how, as an overall culture, or are we compulsive about sex? And so from the asexual lens, Deidre's like, yes, we are. From the asexual lens, having her essentially talk about, I'm gonna say kind of heterosexuals, and that's very broad, but as heterosexuals being, compulsive about sex and the need to have sex, the desire to want to have sex. And I thought, like, now that's just very interesting to see that lens. It's like, that's very interesting. And how another thing that she did kind of toward probably the middle of the book is how she linked heterosexual and sexuality with like money and the economy and how they're linked together, and this idea that if young men aren't having enough sex, that they will become violent, or that they will become, impoverished, that it is that the lack of sex, or the sex recession she talks about, how it's damaging to our overall culture. And then we have to look at, okay, what's the overall culture? Is that this kind of the Make America Great Again culture, which just has one population or one demographic in that population be very, very powerful. And if they're losing their power, then now America is not great. And so I think hopefully I said that very diplomatically in a way. So, okay, whatever thoughts did y'all have?
Are we sharing thoughts about the book?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so I'm going to kick this off by saying that I am an asexual pan-romantic woman, and the book was very validating for me.
Oh, good.
Especially the chapter about the misconceptions or the discrimination that people of asexual identity face. One, invalidation, pathologizing the experience. And she mentioned something that I had not been able to articulate, but always felt when I come out to people about being asexual, which is the harsh kind of like pushback to say that my pain isn't real or my experience isn't real.
Yep.
Say that, oh, you just haven't found the right person, or you're not doing it the right way, or like maybe it's just something else, right? It's the expectation that sex is necessary, while also living in a world where people can have sex without love. So like people have sex without love, no problem. Nobody blinks an eye at it. It's normal. But to say that love can exist without sex just sounds so, it's almost like it offends me. And so I really appreciate how she broke down that experience and how she connected it with what we experience as women when it comes to violence, sexual violence. Expectation that, oh, because you look a certain way, you owe the world or owe people your sexuality. But what she just asexual as being like, I wrote it down. It's like you reserve your sexuality for yourself, basically. While other sexuality, to be asexual is to basically hold your sexuality sacred. So I felt it was very bad. I'm very excited about the conversation because it does a lot of harm to be an asexual person and to be invalidated or to be told that like actually get with it, because Black people, white people have told us that for many, many years, right? Like you're not being discriminated against. This you're not being harmed in this way. That gaslight is very Thank you for
Can I
this.
ask you a question, Deidre?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I guess as we're talking about how she described asexuality and that validation of your feelings, and even Natalie chimed in about the clients that she serves. So what does it mean to you to be asexual? And because we don't want to put it in the check the mark box, like, well, it means this or it means that. So I'm just asking, for you, what does it mean when you say like keeping my sexuality for myself, or like, just what does it mean to be asexual to you? Because if you ask me what it means to be a Black woman, I'm gonna say dope as
Right, like, but see, you can ask what it's like to be a Black woman, and you can ask 5 different Black women and get
exactly. But that's why I'm asking you, because I don't want to just be like, okay, she's described herself as asexual. That's what I'm saying. What does that mean to you?
So my version of asexuality has everything to do with me needing one, emotional security with a person and other levels of attraction. So those 5 different types of attraction, like they have to check those boxes. Like I'm have an urge. I'm not gonna get horny for you, but sex, in my version of asexuality is a conversation and a negotiation tool. Just like, okay, if a man says like, I am going to, I don't know, massage your back because you have a long day, right? To me, sex is like that thing. Like I'm doing this because I care for you, not because I'm urging this itch and desire to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a thing that we do to show this, to negotiate emotional closeness. It's not necessarily something that like I have to do, but I live in a society where not being a sexual person does have implications around being lovable or unlovable, being worthy of certain things. Like we live in Atlanta. This is the city of like so much sexuality, sexuality here, especially when it comes to stripper culture and things like that. And when you see who's being taken care of, who's being celebrated, who are the women who get to get luxury, like who gets the soft life, right? It's the women who are not sex. And so if you're not a sexual person, then you don't get that life, right? You don't marriage in the family. And she also in the book described like singleness and singleism, where single people are discriminated against. That's a big part of my asexuality, is being discriminated against because I'm a single woman with no kids. So asexuality to me is so much more than me just not being a sexual person. It is about the way people see me as a person of lack, but I actually see me as a person who gets to enjoy life and relationships without the foggy lens of like, I'm confusing sex with love, or I'm confusing the desirability with my worth. So that's
go ahead, man.
No, that was a really good question. And Deidre, thank you so much for sharing your story and your voice with us. Like, we really appreciate that. And one of the things that she talked about in the book, and you just kind of highlighted, is asexual seen as like not mature, not like growing, not like a full adult. Like, oh, you're asexual? Oh, you're not even an adult. Or just kind of wait. And so I thought that was very interesting, because essentially it's like a shady version of like ageism, or you're not the norm, and if you don't fit into the majority, then you definitely are less than. Okay. All right, did anybody else want to share anything, or any other comments are coming up for you, or thoughts about the book?
Well, I wanted to comment on something Deidre said. So you were talking about the people who are being celebrated. So one thing that has come up is, especially for some of my younger clients, talking about what they feel femininity is and looks like. So, the clients I have that identify as asexual also sometimes, feel like they have to go out their way to look a certain way. So they need to have long hair or long dreads, or they need to have makeup on at all time, or they need to, like, I have one young Black woman, she dresses really girly, right? And I asked her, like, that's fine if that's who you are, but, do you feel like you're trying to put on some sort of, mask so that nobody says, because she's African actually. So what happens is that, she's 21. So she also has family members that feel you should have had somebody by now. What's going on? Why aren't you dating anybody? So, she kind of wears it as like, she calls it her costume, and, she basically just says, mind your business. I'm doing my own thing over here. So because she's presenting a certain way, they're just assuming, oh, she's just dating. When she gets serious with somebody, she'll bring them around, So, I find that, sometimes they do talk about, how they want to present. So no one thinks they're automatically gay because they haven't seen them with anybody or haven't heard them talk about somebody, but also giving off this impression like, okay, I am desirable somewhere. So don't worry about what's going on, over here, just so they don't have to talk about it. Because you're talking about Atlanta and stripper life and stuff like that. And I think sometimes, a lot of people wear a costume. So I know my clients.
Yeah, a lot of people wear a costume,
I wanted to also kind of piggyback off of what Deidre said. Now I think I lost it. Just that fast. It was so I know what it was.
Okay.
So when you stated, Deidre, about, being able to enjoy, I guess you would basically the innermost parts of a relationship without the foggy lens of whether this is a question between whether this is love or lust or sex or love or whatever the case may be. And I think that that's very helpful and also freeing in a way in terms of being able to truly say that this is why I'm in this versus having questions about what's going on. And I think that it's also, I've had a lot of clients ask this question about, can you have a sexless marriage? And it's like, yeah, you can if both parties agree to having a sexless marriage. Like the companionship or relationship, it doesn't even have to be a marriage, but as long as the people involved know what they're involved in, then you can have whatever kind of relationship that you want. But I think that people get lost in is this a possibility? And I just appreciated you saying like, this is, I'm able to kind of see through that. And I kind of, I feel that way sometimes about like, long distance relationships too. Like I have a client now, her and her fiance just got engaged and he lives in Ghana, she lives here. And so, we just had conversations and I'm like, but you guys have lived in 2 separate countries for 3 years. Now she's originally from Ghana, but still it's like, that this relationship has been built on conversation, has been built on, and I'm not saying that there's no sexual desires there, but that's not the basis. Like you're not able to just be like, I'm with this person every day. It's like you have to dig deeper and really pull out more in a person when sex is not on the table.
I think so.
What you said, I'm sorry.
Good. No, go ahead.
What you said is so important, and why this book is important to me. As an asexual person, it's not my mission to convert people to say, oh, you're asexual and you just don't realize it. Like, I feel like as people come to identify how they identify and find definitions and terms that answer questions they've always had and never knew how to answer, that's what that provides to us. And what you said about like, it's showing you a different way of being, or like, okay, I can relate in a different way. I think that's the gift that asexual awareness can have for allosexual people. It's not to say that you have to identify as ace, and not even to offend, right? There is a portion in the book where she says, like, some people feel offended because they've compromised their morals and their beliefs. They've said yes when they wanted to say no. So to hear someone stand in that can feel like, it can feel abrasive to them. So it's not to do that, but it's to show different ways of being and different ways that are possible. So what asexuals,
I was gonna say, did the phone die?
I don't know. Deidre, so you know how sometimes you get a call in at the wrong time or something, so that could have happened. So, okay. Anybody else want to share something while we wait for her to get back and finish her statement? Yeah. Okay.
Just that I put that book in chat.
I got it.
All right.
I'm sorry. I meant to say something to her. Okay. So I listened to the book and I didn't read the book. So the term, is it allo? What's the term and how do you spell that? Because I was like, dang, I'm gonna have to buy this book. I don't know what they're saying. So what was that?
Allosexual, ALLO.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that means
this is
asexual?
new to me. I just had somebody tell me I was allosexual the other day, and I was like, what?
Allo what?
And I said, what's your definition of it? So they were just like someone who basically is not asexual, who feels like having a sexual life is normal and that is the way you're supposed to be. So you can be allosexual and be heterosexual, homosexual, pansexual,
Okay.
you know, but that you have cultivated a sexual life.
Okay. And then the term ace, we just ACE.
Yeah.
What do we, is this 3 letters that stand for something?
Not to my knowledge.
I
I've
thought it
always
was,
heard asexuals just refer to
Yeah,
themselves
I
as ace.
thought, yeah, like asexuals refers to themselves.
I didn't think it stood for anything in particular.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to buy the
Kind
book
of
and
like
read it.
you know, homosexuals may say gay or lesbian, you know what I mean? Like I think it's ace. Like instead of saying I'm asexual, I'm ace.
Because
Okay.
a lot of those clients, like the stuff they're looking at on social media and support groups, it's all under ACE. So it doesn't say asexuality support group, or, you know, it's not a social media page about asexuality, it's about ACE.
Okay, and we don't know what ACE stands for. We just, that's what they saying.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's another
think
word
we-
that there's another word that she used too, was new to me. It's cis hetero patriotic.
Patriarchy, cis heterosexual patriarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had not heard that term.
that's a big one.
That's
like
that's
one
a
of
combination
those,
of
that's
stuff.
a fancy way of
Right.
saying the
All right. So people,
yeah, go ahead.
okay. So cis is usually, I just think of it like as consistent, somebody who presents as they actually kind of are. So it's cisgender usually refers to heterosexuals. So in the very traditional term that you would think, you know, heterosexual male liking a heterosexual female, we would call that cisgendered. Kind of cis is inconsistent. Patriarchy, that's a whole Google search on how people are using that word. And then what was the other part of it?
That's it.
Okay.
Hetero.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Heteronormative. Yeah, she went in. Like I was just like, golly. Okay. I hadn't thought about all of it like that. Yes, ma'am.
Since you're talking about the terminology, so do you allow your clients to label you? So for instance, like I'll have clients who will mention something to me about, well, you know, since you're a cisgender, you know, female, and I let them know I'm not a cis female. I'm just a female. That I don't use cis, you know, or, you know, things like that. You know, and I just let them know, because we're talking about acceptance of certain things, that it goes both ways as well. That everybody's allowed to label themselves or not, you know, the way they want to. So, you know, it's something that we talk about in sessions sometimes when it comes up. So have you had that happen to you?
I haven't had that happen to me, but y'all, I think now that you thinking about it, most of my clients are old like me. And I'm not that old, but they are around my age group or older. And so I think my generation and people older than me, we just didn't have labels. Like we just don't know what labels are. We ain't trying to have labels. We feel like we ain't got time for labels. We got enough to learn, just trying to keep up with how to use our iPhones. I ain't got time to learn another label about who I am. And so I haven't had it, but as I'm thinking about it, usually those labels come usually with millennials and younger. But my generation is like, we could care less what label you like, yo, you Republican or Democrat. That's what we trying to figure out. After that, we good. Like, and so that's very interesting. I don't think I've had any client label me. And also, as you're thinking about it, I would say probably about half my clients have been with me a while. And so at this point, we probably don't care. Like, don't care. Don't care what you're doing. All right.
I don't think I have either, though. Not to that, not to just say that I'm cisgender, but you know, of course, they know that they may say, you know, you're in a heterosexual, they know I'm married, they know that I have a husband and things of that nature. So some of my same-sex clients or things of that nature, but not necessarily to label me themselves outside of what they already know. They not have made that assumption that I'm X, Y, and Z. So
yeah. No, I'm concerned. I don't know the last time I had a young client. Have I turned into this old lady? Oh my
No, it was interesting because I never had anybody label me.
Say it.
It was just a reminder, like, you don't want me to just label you. I asked for, your identity, your pronouns, how you want to be addressed. Because again, it goes into this conversation that we always have about acceptance of some things as well, and tolerance on both sides. So it's like, so
that's really interesting. Okay, Deidre.
I have a question. Does it feel triggering to be referred to as a biological female?
No.
But is it the fact that cis, what is it about cis that feels invalidating or like a label?
It doesn't feel invalidating, but it feels assumptive. So if you don't want me to assume things about you, then I don't want you to assume things about me, because I don't know if you're using that as a way of coloring our therapeutic relationship. So for instance, Sharita, I'm married to a man as well. And I will have same-sex couples who will ask, well, who are you married to, a man or a woman? Right? Because there are some things clients look for in order to decide whether you fit me, whether you can help me or not. So I don't want people to make assumptions, because I definitely have clients that get very upset when people make assumptions of them. So I'm fine with you labeling yourself, just as long as you understand that you just are not allowed to label everybody else. So, I'm proud to be a biological female. I'm good with that, but it's just one of these, it becomes one of, and again, this is, my younger clients. So it becomes kind of a learning lesson. Like, I don't want you to assume, let's talk about it.
Yeah. I want to piggyback off of that too, if I can, Natalie. I don't know that I would have picked up on it in the same way, but I understood when, I think I used the word assumptive in the first place, but like that assuming that I'm this way or assuming that I'm that way, I feel like it's no different than, I think that when it comes to like looks or whatever, like how I dress, you may assume that I'm gay, or you may assume that I'm straight, you may assume, whatever it is, it's this ideology that who I am based on something that you haven't really acquired knowledge around, right? Like you don't know that per se. And Natalie knows I could go on the whole rabbit hole about how I looks play a role, and people just assume you don't know this or that, what I mean? Like it just drives me crazy when people just assume that you can't be beautiful and smart at the same time. Like, maybe I know what I know. But yeah, I think that's the premise, is that don't know, and so don't just, maybe I got a lymphedema and I can't wear pants, so I wear dresses every time you see me, and you think that it's because I love wearing dresses, and it's like, no, my leg can't fit in the pant. Whatever, right? Like we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah. And I think that is an important lesson for our clients, to take that step back and say, I don't know. Let me approach any situation with a little bit of curiosity.
Or just assuming that because I'm married to a man means that I'm even heterosexual. You don't know if I'm bisexual. You don't know if I'm.
You're right.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
you don't know
anything.
Right.
I could have just decided to marry him. But you know what else I'm doing.
Okay, I'm gonna ask some questions from the book, or kind of about the book. All right, I think we kind of already talked about the first one, but let's go through it anyway. All right, I'm gonna give you an A, B, C, D option. So according to the author, asexual, say that again.
The answer is in bold.
Okay, but y'all can't see my screen, right?
No, we can't see yours.
Okay, just making sure. All right. According to the author, asexuality is simply either A, uncontrollable sexuality, B, self-contained sexuality, C, no sexuality, or D, lack of sexual desire. Sharita, you probably need to answer because you're the one who read the whole book.
Are we just putting it in chat or throwing it out?
Just throwing it out.
Oh, B.
All right, did you put
My response?
B and D?
I put B and D here.
Okay. All right. And the answer, hold on, I gotta find it, is B, self-contained sexuality. Asexuality, according to our author, is self-contained sexuality. Okay. All right, number 2.
Now, Deidre, yeah, it could also possibly be D, but I specifically went according to the author for that reason.
Okay, so we give Deidre her points. Okay. All right. 2, under compulsory sexuality, the desires of those with sexual urges are prioritized. Those with questionable sexual urges. Sharita, you got a copy of the question?
Yeah, I got a copy. Hold on.
I think you got a question mark, and I don't know if that means question or if that was a typo.
No, under compulsory sexuality, desires of those with, it should be, I guess, blank. A.
Okay.
You want me to just read this one?
Okay, go ahead. We out there.
Okay. Under compulsory sexuality, the desires of those with blank sexual urges are prioritized. A, normative sexual urges are prioritized. B, heterosexual sexual urges are prioritized. C, homosexual sexual urges are prioritized. Or D, asexual sexual urges are prioritized.
According to this author, what do y'all think?
I need the responses again. I feel like
it's easier to
normative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read it again, but I got you, Deidre. Normative. Under compulsory sexuality, the desires of those with A, normative sexual urges are prioritized. B, heterosexual sexual urges are prioritized. C, homosexual sexual urges are prioritized. Or D, asexual sexual urges are prioritized.
A.
What's an A?
Mm-hmm. You are correct. A, normative sexual urges. Good job, ladies. Excellent. Okay, I'll read the next one. All right. Black women are associated with what biblical character? Is it A for Eve, B for Ruth, C for Jezebel, or D for Sarah? And I'll read it one more time. Black women are associated with what biblical character?
C.
Yep. C, Jezebel is correct. Who said that
Oh,
answer?
got a bad rap. Okay.
Yeah, she went in on that. Like, y'all.
I thought you, Matrice, I just knew you. We talk about you in church.
Well, it was a trick question because they all were Black. So I was
yes.
Right.
Okay.
They do.
But
Okay.
they associate us
Black
with.
women.
So if we want to,
being-
I'm gonna be. I don't know if you want to unpack that a little bit, Natalie, or come back to it. We could sit it on the show. We could blow that bubble and pop it later.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all need to read this book. Like it just what can I say? I think we forget that how much culture plays into our everyday lives and how we see ourselves and how other people see us. And so when we caught up just trying to see our clients and pay the bills and take care of our mom, we forget about these bigger themes. And I think she did an excellent job in this book of talking about those bigger themes. you know, that are behind the scenes and so pervasive in our lifestyles. So, okay.
Got something to look forward to.
Yes. 4, you can have many sexual partners and sexual experiences and be asexual. Is that true or false?
True.
Excellent job. Who said that one?
I think we all did.
No, yeah.
Well, I need y'all to explain that one to me. I'm sorry.
I can explain from my lens.
Okay. Go for it.
One, because asexuality is often denied, the first people to deny whether a person is ace or not is usually the person themselves. And so you try all these different ways to trigger that sexual feeling that you don't experience. So you want to feel what your homegirl felt or what everybody's talking about in music. So you delve into kink and you have sex when you don't want to have sex because it's what you're supposed to do. And so you can rack up having multiple partners trying to experiment or explore or to fix yourself when you don't realize that asexuality is a thing. So that's how it's possible, just from my lens.
I want to go a step further. Of course, your lens is a lot better, but I'm gonna put it kind of like the author. No. I mean, when I say better, I mean it's more poignant in this particular point. Mine is this is what has happened to me. Okay, so Matrice, you from the South, you Southern, you are old, you know, you're seasoned, got a little seasoning on you. Every time I tell people I don't like watermelon, tell me that I have not ate the right one. Well, you ain't ate this one. It's sweet. I want you to try this one. When you try this one, then you gon', I promise, right? Like it's this push. Like there has to be something wrong with the watermelon that you're eating. There's no way that you could just not like watermelon. And I am 40 years old and I have still yet to meet a watermelon that I like because I like water, right? So watermelon to me tastes like a watered down drink. It tastes like a messed up version of real water, right? So yes, I've tried a lot of watermelons. I've tried seedless, seeds, yellow watermelon, red. I mean, people have just given me all the melons. Every family reunion, look at this one. It's cold. You got to eat it this way. So I understand what you're saying, Deidre. Is like people will try, and you want to. Like I'll be like, everybody else loves it. Like I want to love it. I want to love it. I want to be like, ooh, this watermelon is so refreshing and good.
I still do.
Right?
I still want to love it.
And I still do too. I'm like, okay, it's a lot of things I like now that I did. Maybe my palate will change one day and I'm gonna like watermelon because I ain't used to like a lot of stuff that I like now. So yeah, I was just trying to make it more easier to understand, Matrice. Like
I guess it's a way.
Watermelons for me to say I don't like watermelon.
Yeah. Well, I'm like that with collard greens. People may look at me like, "Oh my God, you don't eat collard greens?" No.
I don't
I haven't had
collard greens are nasty. I agree with you, Matrice.
Thank you. So it's just a preference.
Like, okay, y'all haven't had the right one.
See, that's what you immediately want to say. You immediately want to say, because I did hate greens for a long time till I ate
the right one.
Right. And I've tried, but I don't like sage. See, I was
right. I get it.
I was like, I don't like sage. That's why I don't like dressing. And I have to literally explain that to people because they're like, no, you just haven't had my grandma. I'm like, I don't like sage. If you made the dressing without sage, I might eat it. But most 98% of dressings gonna have sage in it. And I don't like it.
Girl, matter of fact, I'm gonna pick up my sage this weekend just because you said it. Okay. All right. Let me ask the next question. And it is, and she did kind of step on my toes in that, and with that whole in that book. Because when people be like I have a cousin who doesn't like cheese. What you mean you don't like cheese? You don't like what?
You don't like
explain to me how you were eating pizza and macaroni and cheese and how or a charcuterie tray. She's like, I don't like cheese. Okay, I don't understand. Like you are missing some huge major food groups in life. And so that's how we do people.
It's the same thing with me and chocolate. I don't like chocolate. I don't like peanut butter. I get talked about constantly all the time. They're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like,
look, are you even American?
You know, one of the things too, I think you may have referenced this, Diva. You know, people talking about you haven't tried the right one or whatever. But then you have people go all the way to the other spectrum that they feel if you're asexual, it's not I think in the beginning she was talking about being celibate abstinent. So then you have people like, oh, well, you done had too much. You done had too much sex. So now you're taking a break from, now you say you don't like it anymore. And that now you're asexual. And they don't really understand the definition of celibate or abstinent either. So they also consider that to be asexual. And they're just like, oh, so you don't like sex at all. Okay, so you just taking a break, and you know, well, then you just be, you know, somebody's auntie sitting over in the corner or whatever, just chilling, like, and we won't ask you anymore. So then it becomes like, instead of people trying to figure out, you know, like, you know, what's going on, how can you not date anybody, you know, then it becomes a total devaluation of you as a sexual person. Like, well, you're not doing this. So, you know, obviously you just don't like sex, don't like people, don't like relationships, and you just doomed to life, you know, like where people talk about, you know, so-and-so and their cat lady. And that's what some people think about asexuality, is that, okay, you just don't want any type of connection, which is totally untrue.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
I love that you said that, because unlike not liking chocolate or watermelon or collard greens, there are no societal implications for that. But when you say I don't like sex, there's big impact. And that's why this conversation is so important, because my preference should not alter the life I get to have.
Yeah.
Because people expect me to behave in a certain way, even if I'm not engaging with them. And one thing that I was trying to say before my phone died on me was that I feel like the thing about compulsory sexuality, and that what we can teach people who are allosexual, is that sex doesn't always have significance in the way that we assign it significance. So there are many marriages that become destroyed because someone has sex with another person. But the sex isn't always love, right? Maybe it's another meaning tied to it. But if you feel like, oh, this is the ultimate thing, this is the only thing, if that's the foundation of your relationship or your marriage, them having sex with another person can completely change your perception of the love that you feel like you have, when actually that love is still very much intact. So just the whole thing that love can exist without sex is something that I feel is radical, in the world should anywhere.
It makes me think too, Deidre, about like when a woman says she doesn't want to have children, right? It's like, what is wrong with, or don't want to get married, or don't want to do things that we're supposed to do. It's like, what's wrong with you? That's not, you know, they want to talk you into it. But I also just had to make a joke, because y'all know y'all know most of y'all, but welcome. I'm Sharita, but I just had to say, those things do have cultural implications. When you say you don't like watermelon and collard greens, it may not be societal, but culturally.
I mean, people gonna make fun of you, but
they question your blackness with that.
They do. Yeah. You might not get a family reunion invitation. You keep not liking watermelon.
And then, like you said, Sheree, people keep bringing you different options. And it's like, I don't like chocolate. I don't want white chocolate. I don't want this chocolate with almonds in it. I don't want this chocolate with hazelnuts in it. Like, why do you keep bringing me different options of chocolate? We've already had this conversation.
They annoy you, but they don't oppress you.
No.
Exactly.
Our experiences are not the same. So I was saying that in a jokingly, you know, it is definitely not the same. I'm just saying culturally, you would think that it is just sacrilegious. But no, they don't oppress you.
All right, let me ask the next question. All right, so this is a fill in the blank, and it is, all right, blank is not a factor by which queerness should be measured? Option A is sexuality. Option B is race. Option C is trauma. Option D is rape culture. And again, blank is not a factor by which queerness should be measured. What do y'all think?
I would say
According to the
sexuality.
author. Sexuality is not a factor by which queerness should be measured. All right, Natalie, that was you, right?
Mhm.
Okay, anybody else?
Can you repeat those options again? Because I'm
Yep.
thinking, please.
All right, so option A is sexuality is not a factor by which queerness should be measured. Option B is race is not a factor by which queerness should be measured. Option C is trauma is not a factor by which queerness should be measured. Option D is rape culture is not a factor by which queerness should be measured. And I think according to this author.
Say
I haven't
race.
looked yet. I'm thinking B.
I
Okay,
would think B, race.
okay. The answer is C.
Wait.
Trauma.
We had some discussion, some rumblings going on. Natalie?
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Because I did hear somebody say something about rape culture. I was listening. So
Yeah, and I was thinking like, wait, queerness shouldn't be judged by rape culture either, which is why I said according to this author. But I don't think it should be judged by rape culture either.
but the answer is trauma.
And the answer is trauma. And you kind of can put rape culture under the term of trauma.
Sometimes it'd be hard to
But
come
that-
up with wrong answers. For me to come up with wrong answers that kind of fit in there.
Okay. All right. In the book, she talked about a professor that she had. Okay. And she said, so this question is, according to the professor, everything is about blank. A, sex. B, money. C, children. D, career. One of her professors said, everything is about blank. Sex, money, children, or career. What do y'all think?
I'm going with money.
I want to say B too. I didn't hear this part.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Y'all passed the couple of times I did, so I'm just shooting in the dark.
All right. Her professor said everything is about sex. And so, and it was so funny because I don't know if y'all ever watched the TV show. It's a Netflix show, House of Cards.
Yeah.
I love that show. That's one of my favorite shows. I just be in it with Frank, like, yes, Frank. And that's one of the things that Frank says, like, everything is about sex except for sex. And it's one of his famous lines. It's hilarious. But this professor, she talked about a college professor who said, basically everything is about sex. Y'all are here at college to have sex. Y'all gonna try to graduate and get a job so y'all can have sex consistently with somebody, and everything's about sex. Okay, next question. All right, Black girls as young as blank years old routinely experience this adultification bias and the sexualization bias that comes along with it. So as young as 5 years old, as young as 8 years old, as young as 10 years old, or as young as 12 years old. What do y'all think? Y'all want me to read the question again?
Please.
Okay. Black girls as young as blank years old routinely experience adultification bias and sexualization that comes along with it. Desexualization that comes along with it. 5, 8, 10, or 12.
I want to say 8, but it's probably 5.
Yeah, I was going to say 5. I said probably
It's
as
5.
young as
think
what's
it's
out
8.
there.
It's 5. It's 5, y'all. Which is why I was reading the book, like, let me go home and hide my babies. I ain't even got no kids. So I just wanted, so I guess the next step was going to my nieces and make sure they feel like, you know, they're protected. Because that's just sad. It's just so sad. So, okay. All right. Question number 8. We only have 10, so we're almost done.
All these things I want to talk about.
Well, what you want to say? I'll let you say.
Nothing. I just feel like that would go down the whole rabbit hole about the, you know, the how young we are viewed as sexual, or not even just sexual. We talk about sexuality when it comes to our girls, but also just little Black boys. You know, they're not seen as children. You know, they could get tried as an adult at 10, and that's not gonna really happen in another Caucasian space, right? And you know, things that we wear, you know, it's a lot of conversation about that. And,
Yes,
and even some of these other things. So I mean, but we got to get through the questions and wrap up.
It is a lot of conversation. Okay, I want to say something. I'm not. Okay. All right, next question. Enon, Eynon, and I didn't read the book, so I don't remember that term in it. I listened to it.
Anon?
I don't know. Sharita? Enon or Anon? Okay. Okay, simply declared that a blank woman was one whose senses had not been properly awakened. A blank woman was one whose senses had not been properly awoken. All right, is it A, a lesbian woman, B, a frigid woman, C, a bisexual woman, or D, a depressed woman?
A,
lesbian. All right, who else has a...
Say it
I'll
again.
go A.
Okay, so Enon, I remember now, that was this psychotherapist or whatever he was. He was the one that was doing the studies on.
Oh,
y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But basically he was supposed to be helping women because they were going through hysteria or whatever it was that they was going through. So that's his name.
oh, that's how the vibrator got invented.
So maybe a frigid woman?
It sure was. Matrice, you are correct. Frigid woman is correct.
We talking about cleansing and all
simply
that.
declared that a frigid woman was one whose senses had not been properly awoken. How about I want to bet he was trying to awaken on himself? I bet.
He was. They would come visit him to do that.
Yeah.
And he would give them orgasms. But then, right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 9. Okay, number 9. According to Pornhub's 2019 Insight Report, 8 out of the top 25 most popular search terms were A, lesbian, B, ethnic, C, Caucasian, or D, orgy. Again, let me read the question. According to Pornhub's 2019 Insight Report, 8 out of the top 25 most popular search terms were A, lesbian, B, ethnic, C, Caucasian, or D, orgy.
So I want to say ethnic, but it was technically ebony.
It was ebony?
That people were looking up. I mean, I guess, ethnic falls under that.
Yeah.
But
Natalie,
to my knowledge, it was ebony.
You are correct. Y'all know they want us.
Yeah, it was ethnic. Well, they said, but ebony falls under ethnic.
Ethnic, yes.
The Jezebel caricature.
Well, and going back to what you were saying, Sharita, about the kids, you know, you've heard people probably say that some little girl was born with a Jezebel spirit. I've heard old people say that.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, what? Like, we're in the world.
But little black girls.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm talking about old black people talking about little black girls. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? So-and-so was born like, I'm with you, Sheree. It's a whole
way to dismiss the trauma that was probably inflicted on them, right? Like, well, they didn't have no business wearing it, or they turned him on. You know, we could go, the trauma runs real deep.
It does.
And I will tell you, because like you said, you're a Southerner. I'm originally from South Carolina. I live in Charlotte. I have seen, I think, a difference in how Southern Black sexuality shows up sometimes than Northern, if that makes that makes sense.
I definitely think so.
Yes. I'm Midwestern. I'm right in the middle. I'm Chi-Town.
Okay. Yeah, it's different. I'll put it like
it
that.
Is different though.
It is.
The expectations are different. I feel like there's more freedom in the northern states to be. I feel like Southern. I mean, that's it's the Bible Belt South, so it's the expectation there.
The Bible Belt is definitely strong.
Okay, go ahead, Deidre. What you want to say?
I think a lot of it is related to what Dr. Joy DeGruy talks about with like post-traumatic slave syndrome, where the things that protected us back then have become maladaptive behaviors out of context today, and staff just carries a lot of that.
It does. Oh, it does. Okay. Last question. All right. Who was discriminated against, demonized, dehumanized, and endured abuse according to the author? And 12% of the population identifies as this. Is it A, queer, B, African American, C, people who wear glasses, or D, left-handed people?
B.
All right, B, African American. Anybody else want to answer anything else?
African American.
Okay. All right. The author said left-handed people.
Left-handed people.
I just thought that was so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And really what it points out is that the majority culture will feel like they have the high road at all times. And no matter how other you are, if you are other, you are automatically less than. And so therefore you need to be.
Yeah, they tried to force them to write with their right hand and make desks for them before, like they were demonized. It was a whole, like towards the end of the book, she talked about that, or somewhere in the book, I don't know, but I just thought that was very interesting. Like Natalie said, when you are the minority in whatever situation it is,
you're vulnerable.
Seen as something is wrong with you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies. That brings us to the end. Any last comments, questions? I love this. I'm so glad we can get together. I'm so glad we had this time together. I don't know what song that is. It's a TV show. That was Carol Burnett, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Told y'all I was old.
But this makes me feel very happy as a therapist to see other clinicians out here doing this work, because we have to always be checking ourselves for countertransference and things all the time. And so the more we learn and have these conversations, learn new ways of being, or how other people are expressing in their lives, we can validate the people that we work with and not, mistakenly invalidate them and their experiences and cause more harm. So thank you for this group. It was very supportive for me today.
Yeah. All right. Is it Ambrosia? Okay, good. Hey, I don't think I know you. Have we met before? Wait, I can't hear you. I don't know why I can't hear you. They can't hear you either.
She might have to send a
You're
text.
not on mute. Is your microphone have access? Or is your speaker up on your phone? I mean, computer.
Okay, y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, I'm in grad school at Mercer in my last semester, and I'm interning under Dr. Savage right now at Anchored Counseling. So she sent me the list because I kind of want to like go down the sex therapy route. So I want to hop on it. So I was just texting her. She's like, "How's it going?" I was like, "It's going amazing." So sorry if I was a little quiet. I was just, soaking information up like a sponge.
All right. Dr. Savage to her, Ecclesia to all of us. Clee.
Yeah.
Y'all know Clee?
Y'all
don't know? Okay, y'all gotta meet her. She's so awesome. She's so awesome. She is the bomb in multiple ways. So I'm so glad to have you. I hope you enjoyed it. And you will get, so I'm thinking Dr. Savage got the CEU for you. She wants you to have the CEU.
Because she's on maternity leave right now. So I think my other supervisor got it for me, I believe. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll check with them afterwards.
Okay. All right. So for now, I'm gonna put it in your name. I'll probably send them out on Saturday. Okay. And so expect it on Saturday. When you registered, I should have your email. So I put it, nope, I got her email. Okay, put your first and last name in the chat for me, please, ma'am. And I'll put it in your name, and then if I need to do something different, they'll tell me. Okay, everybody, if you would like to get one CEE for this event, one ASEC CE, those of us who are ASECtors and will have to renew our CEs, then in the worksheet, there was a payment link. And so if you go ahead and make that payment of $24.99, then that will purchase a CE for you. And so each month, We'll meet. It'll be third Thursdays. I think it changes in December so that because I think I go on Christmas vacation and I'm moving and everything like that. So I think in December it's the second Thursday. But if everybody got a copy of the spreadsheet, so a link to the spreadsheet, you should be able to, that should have all of the dates, and I'll put these new books on the list and kind of continue it. And if y'all don't have it in your email, let me show y'all how to get to the list. If you go to, hold on, let me share my screen. If you go to, should be Atlanta Sex Therapy. Let's see if this works. I just put this on the website today, so let's pray it works. All right, if y'all go to Atlanta Sex Therapy and scroll all the way down to the bottom into professional development workshops, Sex Therapy Book Club comes up. And if you click on Sex Therapy Club details, that's the spreadsheet. Okay, so the yellow is the link to register for the next one if you're coming. And then here go the dates, the future dates over here, the names of the book, the author. This is the Amazon link that makes sure we all wind up with the same edition. Because some of the books do have a different edition, but I also want you guys to have the Audible links as well. So if you want to get it on Audible, because I probably listen to the most amount on Audible, a picture of the book, there's a link to the pictures. And then if you decide that you want CE credit, hold on, y'all faces are in the way. CE credit, then here are the links. So just click the link and purchase the CE credit and you'll get one ASEC CEU for this event. So I enjoyed you guys thoroughly. I enjoyed this conversation so much. It's so nice to spend time with you guys. I miss y'all people who've graduated, Rachel. Oh, I miss you guys. And so I'm so glad we had this time to spend together. I really am. I'm not just singing the song to be funny. Like it really came up in my heart. I'm so glad we had this time together. Does anybody have any questions of me, of the process, of what you need to do next or anything?
Do we get a certificate with the CE?
Yes, you'll get a certificate. And the reason why I don't have them now is because I need to sit down and write the agenda. I need to write it because it's one CE, but it still has to have an agenda and an objective. And so I'll sit down Saturday after I think about what we talked about and get you to one objective and the agenda and then the CE. And I'll send that to you if you click the link and go ahead and pay for that. But that's optional, like you don't have to, and the book club is going to continue to be free. And so it's just for those of us who do want ASEC credit, then I wanted to make that available for you. Yes, ma'am, Natalie.
I'm like, Deidre, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. So, and Bridget, you're an intern. So I have one intern left right now. I had one just graduate, one graduated in December. Mm-hmm. I probably would love for her to be on this. I'm just gonna, Matrice, do you identify as African-American or African or Black or?
I just say Black.
Okay.
I got just a mixed pot. So
the reason why I'm asking is because she's white. So she's a 22-year-old white female from West Virginia. Mm-hmm. So, of course she's interested in sex therapy and things like that. But I don't want to introduce, so I know this is open to all, right? Mm-hmm. I get that. But I also know that certain dynamics can throw off a dynamic of a group. So, I don't know if I should invite or not. Okay, Sheree, I'm with you.
Okay, I'm gonna say she's welcome. Our next book is what Sensei Focus.
So that was-
and so I don't think we're gonna like this book was blackity black. Mm-hmm. To take the words from a song Avery Sunshine sings, mm-hmm. blackity black. That's a cute song. Y'all should listen to it. Anyway, all right. And so I'm glad that we had the group we had tonight to really delve down into it. I don't think we have another book like that for a while. And so I think it'll be a safe, wonderful conversation for her to be in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll see.
Okay. Okay.
All
right. All right.
Can you stay on for 1 second, Natalie? I just got a quick question about the list.
Okay. All right, good. All right, if everybody else is good, you guys have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Good to meet all of you. I'm so excited.
Nice to meet y'all as well.
All
Thank
right.
you. Me too.
Thank
All right,
you.
so good to see y'all smiling faces. All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Natalie, I just wanted to ask real quick, are we going to Rachel's still on? I mean, it's not like it's a secret of not no protected health information. But did you want to keep the list as is, or did you want us to change out any of the books that we have for some of the ones that they wanted to add? Because I was kind of really interested in those two that Rachel has said.
I'm just gonna add them to the list. So I changed the list.
You just want to add them to the end?
Change the list. I'm just gonna add them to the end and keep going.
Okay.
And then you're only doing this with me until when? Because it was gonna be, I feel like we was gonna do a year commitment for you, and then we slowed around. And so I still think you finished around, I think it's March, but I think I added on some extra because I added on some extra books.
Now I want to take can the cancer get moved? I want these two that Rachel
Right. They're gonna be good. And so I'll probably just add them on. I just add them on to the end.
Okay.
Yeah, because I gotta find links for them and everything, and I don't want to mess up what I already did. So it took me all day.
It took you a while to get
it did. And I was telling my friend Arlise, I was like, I done had this child do this stuff for me. It's been on my it's literally been on my calendar for a while. I think I was supposed to execute maybe this time last year, probably, when I had the idea. And I just couldn't get it executed. So I went and sat in this little clubhouse speakeasy on Saturday at like 10, and I didn't get up until like 10 at night because it took me, and I was like, now this is why I couldn't get it done, because it took me a good chunk of time because I needed I made the little I put all the C's in the payment system. I put all of the books and finding all of the links, and then register with Amazon, and just a whole all the things. So, but it's done now, yay! And we got content and books to go. So a year and a half. It sounds like
9/21. So we will meet on I'll see you before then for our meeting.
Oh.
Child, yes, this has been a long week.
Girl, we are still live. I'm so sorry. Hold on.
Oh,
good thing we weren't talking about nothing. That's so funny. So anyway, all right, I'm finna end the whole call. All right, you have a good night.
See you later. Bye bye.